I'm Matt Pillar, host of the Business of Biotech podcast. And if you're listening to my voice right now, but not seeing my face, maybe you haven't heard that we've launched a new Business of Biotech videocast page under the Listen and Watch tab at bioprocessonline.com. There, you'll find hundreds of videos of my interviews with biotech builders, categorized by topic like finance and capital markets, regulatory, discovery, and manufacturing. Don't try it if you listen while driving, but be sure to check it out when you get where you're going. Go to bioprocessonline.com, hit the Listen and Watch tab, and choose Business of Biotech in the dropdown. I'm not shy about my admiration for the flagship pioneering community. It's a veritable breeding ground for biotech innovation, and the organization has given us generous access to its partner CEOs, itself a who's who of biotech entrepreneurship. Less than a year into his role as CEO at Ampersand Biomedicines, Jason Gardner offers a case in point. He joined Ampersand on the heels of his leadership of the rise and ultimate wind down of Magenta Therapeutics, that tenure preceded by a lengthy career that started at Chiron and saw a long stay at GSK. Jason's seen some things, experienced the highs and the lows, and come back for more, demonstrating the kind of fortitude required of a leader in this tough business. At Ampersand, he's working on a tech-driven platform that aims to redefine how we identify local precision medicine targets and develop navigable therapeutics to address those targets. I'm Matt Pillar. This is the Business of Biotech, and I was honored to sit down with Jason in San Francisco to discuss this heady stuff and a whole lot more. Let's give it a listen. Jason Gardner, CEO at Ampersand. Before we get into learning about Ampersand, I want to rewind a little bit and get to know you. It's always interesting to me when an exec leaves the at least perceived comforts of a company like GSK, where you worked for 11 years, to jump into sort of a biotech. You did that notably leading Magenta Therapeutics after 11 years at GSK. So the fundamental question is what motivated you to make that move?
Yes. So first of all, Matt, thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure.
Great to be here. So reflecting back at that time and that decision, there are really three memories behind that. So first, the science.
Mm-hmm.
The science of our medicine was really coming together with a number of academic labs and new programs coming out. It was a great opportunity to potentially build a company around it. Second was the impact of patients. So transplants are curative. Transplants are really not done as widely as they could be because it's quite hard for a patient to go through it. And transplant, that's what Magenta was built to solve with this new science. And the third was the team, the people. So one of the people who's co-founded with me was my former postdoc at Harvard, David Scadden, and then both Atlas Ventures and Third Rock Ventures were interested in the science in building separate companies. And so we were able to bring them together and build one company, and that became Magenta Therapeutics. So that combination, and we'll talk a bit more about that in terms of future decision making, the science, the impact on patients, and the people, to me, was very important. And so even though I wasn't looking to leave GSK, that was the three motivation.
There's got to be, and I ask this question often, and sometimes I get honest. I don't. There's got to be, at least some degree of trepidation when you make a move like that. I mean, people spend their entire careers at companies like GSK comfortably, especially in leadership positions like you were in. I mean, it wasn't like there was the end of a career trajectory there.
Right.
So walk me through that. Like, speaking to folks who may be considering making such a move, how do you rationalize it, and how did your wife take it, Jason?
So I'd been in biotech before GSK. I spent 8 years first here at Chiron as a junior scientist, and then at Regenerates in New York as a more senior scientist. So I knew a bit about biotech and life in a smaller company. And again, I'd been very happy and had great opportunities at GSK. But this was a moment for me to really look at those three principles: the science, the impact on patients, and the team. And I just felt doing that in a new company, startup environment would be impactful and also a challenge for me personally in the next chapter of my career. So that dinner table conversation with my wife was very interesting, and I got very clear feedback that if this was the moment, this was what I should do.
Yeah.
Then that's what I did that.
Yeah. So yeah, the support is fundamental.
Incredibly. Can I just double click on that? So when I was building Magenta, and then similarly now at Ampersand, I talk about that with our employees. Our employees' families and their friends and their networks are really part of our extended team.
Mm-hmm.
We rely on them. Sometimes, when the days are long and there are ups and downs and twists and turns in our industry and in our work, it's often our families and our friends who provide that support. So I always thank our team members to ensure that they pass on that thanks to that team, that extended team. That's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Another transition that I wanted to get your perspective on would be, you mentioned that you started out as you were a research scientist.
Yes.
Yeah. At what point along the road did you begin to develop an interest in leadership and business development? And
yeah, so basically, I went into biotech and into the industry principally because I loved science, but I really wanted to make medicines. And then I just thought that was the best way to do that. And so learning the science of the industry, which is really the foundation of our industry, was terrific. And I worked on programs that became medicines. So I'm very fortunate that I worked with great teams. And then naturally, I was fortunate to get leadership opportunities, leading projects first, and then leading teams, and then building teams, and then building units over the years. And then the business side just came alongside that, setting up budgets, setting up partnerships, knowing how to do that, learning, adapting, and thinking strategically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned a lot of the business from people who I worked with by doing and delivering. And I think that's a very important way. You can learn a lot in school and a lot both on the science and the business side, but doing that in practice and doing that with great people who you can learn from, and being humble and also knowing that everything we do here in the industry is as a team. Being able to communicate well and listen and learn fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, I think, I've been very lucky to have those opportunities, and I'm excited about what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Flagship in Ampersand.
Yeah, very good. Was there a particular point where, as you assume those responsibilities, those leadership responsibilities, was there a particular point where, what was it, a light bulb moment? Like, I want to run the show.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I believe in, my values were mainly around impacting patients. And if I was using science to do that in a leadership role, that was in battle. And then for me, if I could make more, I never woke up one day and thought, I have to be a CEO. I want to be a CEO. It was more of a natural, just a progression. And for me, I was also very fortunate to have a number of influential mentors, and still do, in my career, both at GSK, both beyond GSK, and until today in the venture world, in the biotech world. And I believe firmly that those types of experienced mentors, those folks who have been CEOs or been leaders, provide a huge amount of feedback into our system, even though they're not kind of in those operational roles.
Yeah,
that's incredibly important. You look at the diaspora, certainly in the Boston biotech community, of companies that have become great companies, and team members who've gone on to do great things in other companies and then beyond. It's an amazing network.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I believe the venture firms, the investors like Flagship, have talent base, the networks to be able to access and tap into that. And so as a CEO, I remember one of my mentors, right, this took the role, as we created and co-founded Magenta, told me the CEO is the loneliest job in the world. It is the time where you find out how you can have to make hard decisions but it doesn't need to be. You have often an experienced board, a team around you, and then so those networks can be very helpful.
Yeah. Did you take advantage of any like formalized network opportunities, like, yeah, or was it more of an informal?
Oh, no, it's more informal. And I would say, I think folks have been very generous with that time, which with me over the years. And I also like to sort of network with people as well and share experiences.
Yeah.
And in today's flagship world as well, there is a very vibrant cross CEO and cross company and within the flagship ecosystem.
Right.
A lot of sharing of experiences and ideas as well. It's a great model. We'll talk more about it for company creation. It's also a great model of network for company building and company execution as well. That interplay between those experiences. So I think networking and the networking skills, and I tell my children who are teenagers about that, and what you learn in college is going to be important. What you then do with that is going to be important in your careers. But who and how you work and building those networks over the years is going to be important for whatever career choice I think, particularly in biotech.
Entirely. I mean, I could go long on stories about this. My son just started college this past fall, and he's of this mindset where he just thinks he has to have everything mapped out. And I'm like, but you can map it out all you want. It's not going to play out the way you, but yes. it's who, what, and how, right? You interact. So, I want to get the story behind your arrival on the scene at Flagship. So you're only 6 or so months on the scene right now. 5. Okay. Yeah. So not even 6 yet. Yeah. So new there. You joined Flagship sort of on the heels of Magenta's wind down. Yes, that'd be the appropriate way to put it. So how did that come to pass?
Yeah. So basically, I was thinking about my next role and the way I could impact patients and science, and really bring my experience to an organization. So I got to know the Flagship team. I've used several members there already. So Paul Beyond, who runs Biomedicines, Rika Bassi as well, various other folks. And we started a conversation about, what could be an interesting opportunity. So we had to dive in on. Then I got to know the back convention and the Ampersand team. And I went on the CDA. I read the website and I listened to a lot of the Flagship interviews on YouTube as well. So it really got to understand about what it's like to work there, good diligence as folks to people. But I went on the CDA and I heard and saw the Ampersand data, the science. And I was blown away. And I thought, this is what I have to do next. I'm going to talk a bit about what the company's doing, the platform. But I really wanted to build a platform company, just a business optionality. I think the opportunities to partnerships, we'll talk about that. In this current capital markets, it's very powerful. I like the impact that this platform will have on patients, the potential, and then the team. So the team was terrific, and the Flagship model and the expertise that Flagship brings. So it checked those 3 boxes for me. And so it was a very, in the end, straightforward decision. And I'd say the dinner table conversation this time, I have it with my wife, it was very straightforward.
Yeah, very nice.